There's the Bitcoin move to all-time high. Many people anticipating it in the weeks ahead. AI predicting it to the day. And I'm going to show you the exact day that it predicts. And this comes off like clickbaity, like kind of like this out of the box idea just to do content on. But before I even show you exactly how this is doing this, I want to just say something. This actually plays exactly into the zoomed out, exactly into where we are in the cycles, exactly into how Bitcoin moves at this precise time every cycle. This plays into the video that I did back here, 2018. Bitcoin was like $3,500, right around $3,500 is the Bitcoin bear market low. We are right here. So the speculation that we're doing, it's speculative, but it plays exactly into the cycles of Bitcoin almost to the day. So let's have some fun with this. Hit the subscribe and like on the way in. If you saw a recent video of mine, I kind of zoomed out on the elections and I just said, you know what, just glancing at elections, if you look at November 5th and previous elections in Bitcoin, from that moment, Bitcoin just goes up. It enters its parabolic season. And so this is foundational to what we're about to discuss, but I dug a little deeper into this. I saw this post from Kevin Svensson on X, and he said, Bitcoin not giving the bears any more downside. Election season, seasonality returning. All-time high may be closer than it appears. And I very much agree with that. This can come out of nowhere, especially this cycle, and wait till you see why that is. So he said, fun fact, every Bitcoin new all-time high in history took place during the US election season. So I'm like, you know what? We talked about this in a recent video, kind of just elections in general, zoomed out. And I said, what I want to do, I want to zoom in. And I just want to really look at the daily chart at this moment and really November 5th in previous elections and how long it took for Bitcoin to get to all-time high. And then when I got this data, I said, let me, because I could have sat around and done the math. I just didn't feel like it. So I said, let me ask ChatGPT. And I'm going to show you the exact conversation. And it gave me to the day Bitcoin breaking all-time high. So just to note, this was 2012 back here. And to give you an idea, this is November 5th, 2012. It took Bitcoin, we're going to put the data together real briefly, 115 days from elections and 194% gain to the upside to break all-time high. Okay, now we go to the next election. And it took Bitcoin from November 5th election in 2016 to break all-time high. It took 118 days, like 79% move for it to do that. Then we go last cycle, last election. Things got a little bit less, right? 41 days it only took, and it was 44% move. So Bitcoin was a lot closer last election, and it took a lot shorter time to break all-time high. So I was like, wait a second. So I wanted to do the math, and I was like, I don't feel like doing the math. So I broke it down for ChatGPT very quickly. I said, from 2012 election, Bitcoin was 194% away, took 115 days, blah, 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 blah. I said, if Bitcoin is 8% from all-time high right now, and this is assuming it's 8% on November 5th, right? It's not November 5th yet, but I just basically said, how many days would it take to break all-time high based on historical data and trends? And it gave basically all the breakdown, and it gave a low-end estimate, a mid-range, and a high-end. So if Bitcoin follows a similar trend as past election cycles, it might take around 5 to 12 days to break the all-time high after the 2024 election. The average across the three calculations is about 8 days. So the average is 8 days. It could take 5 to 12 days. And if you look at the chart on Bitcoin, if we go to actually look at Bitcoin on the daily, this is because Bitcoin is just, this election season, it's the closest to all-time high it's ever been. And that's thanks to the pre-Bitcoin halving pump to all-time high. So remember, this is the first cycle Bitcoin's testing all-time high at elections when the all-time high was like not that long ago. It was pre-Bitcoin halving. It wasn't all the way back here, the last bull market high. This was Bitcoin exiting the bear market type of deal. So this is the first time this has happened. So Bitcoin's around 8% away from now, or from all-time high now. And so if we take all of that data, and ChatGPT did it very simply, way quicker than I would have done it, and it just basically says 5 to 12 days, around 8 days. And then to really break this down in the chart, I saw this post, which is pretty interesting. I saw it earlier. Ali over here, Ali Chart says, if Bitcoin holds above 65, I'm looking for a move to 72, a pullback to 69, and then a rally towards 78. But he has this fractal here. And I wanted to actually take what he did and put it on the chart and play that into this election data, right? And wait till you see this. Now, if you notice this fractal that he puts here, I think it is basically the swing low of this trend line, right? So if we go to the chart on Bitcoin, on the zoomed in, and I have it somewhere. Here it is. There it is. That's basically that fractal that he has. Now, if you look at this, November 5th, right around here, and look where Bitcoin's breaking all-time high. Basically, like it already did. It's like right around November 5th. So on this daily chart, what I did was I took it a little bit step further, and instead of just taking the fractal from this lower trend line and saying, there's the move we're about to get. And I said, let me respect the momentum a little bit here. And let me allow some room for a dip on the short term. Because if you look at the stock RSI, quicker moving momentum oscillator, still just, it's getting close. It's approaching oversold, but it's not really in oversold yet. We haven't got the pivot yet. So there's room for downside right now. And so I went back to this trend line, this lower trend line where he took that fractal from. And I said, okay, when Bitcoin was falling into that move, right around this time on the stock RSI, where was Bitcoin? And, right around here. And that was, end of August or so. So we can take a fractal from around that moment, and it really what it does is just buys us a little bit more time and allows for even a little bit more consolidation. And we take that, and then we place it where Bitcoin is right now, and you can actually see a dip. And let me change the color of that so we can just see that a little bit better. Let's just put it in blue. So now we have a very interesting dynamic. So his fractal's in there, but we have a dip first because of that stock RSI, because of the momentum. I know right now, we're going into this next week. It's the last week before elections. I think there's going to be a lot of volatility. And we just looked at even one momentum oscillator. There's a move to the downside 100% in play. Maybe we don't go that low. Maybe it's a higher low from back here, right? A nice just trend. Maybe it fails support and it's very volatile. I'm not sure. But playing into ChatGPT, what did ChatGPT say? Said around 8 days from November 5th, right? So we're looking at around the 13th on this chart. And the 13th, if we look at this chart, is right around, 13th is right around here. So right here. So you can see on this chart, it had not happened. So this is where things become interesting, because on this speculative dip chart, it will not have happened yet. It will have happened, we're looking at, if we look at where all-time high is, we're looking at like November 21st, right? But then if we look at what he posted with his fractal, we're looking at sooner. So it's almost like in between the 5th and maybe, the 13th, which is so much in play and so much in line with what ChatGPT was saying, 5 to 12 days after November 5th. I don't know the exact days there, but you can do the math. It seems like almost in this range is all-time high, according to historical data. If it just replays, if it repeats, and obviously it's up for debate, right? 5 to 12 days is a range. Average is 8 days. We just looked at what 8 days looks like. Maybe it's sooner, maybe it's later, but you get the point. The move is there. The move is set up. And again, I say this from this perspective of, it's not just like this one little simple data point. This is years in the making. I've been tracking this stuff for years. We are at this moment of the cycle. And this is all I've been doing these videos on lately, is really where we are in the cycles, and just this data point, they're all coming together. And I don't mean to be overly bullish. I realize there's potential where this history doesn't repeat. I absolutely realize that. And sometimes I think about it I think about it very often, because I'm like, could it be this easy? Is this really going to happen again? I don't know if you watched my videos last cycle, but we were talking about very similar things, right? And Bitcoin did it. And we're talking about very similar things this cycle. It's like, is Bitcoin really going to do this? So I wanted to break that down for you, because as we get ready to go into elections next week, it's getting kind of crazy here, right? And it's going to be very interesting to see what does happen as Bitcoin, attempts to interact with all-time high. A lot of speculation, anticipate dips, anticipate it to happen, as Kevin said, sooner than later or closer than it appears. So these are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I appreciate all of you watching. Please hit the subscribe, turn notifications on, and hit the like if you enjoyed this video and this content. It really means a lot to me. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good start to your week, and God bless.